Hey, I think my wife's right. We were having a big fight this morning. Um, Lots of issues and whatever. It's too complex. Go into a little bit of detail, but it's very deep. But one of the things, one of her gripes is that I'm spending too much time on this podcast. And she said, "You spend 4 hours on your bloody podcast." And I thought to myself, 4 hours? No, that can't be right. I was thinking like maybe 2.5 hours at the most. Well, before you know what's what, I'm looking at my watch now. It's already 10 o'clock at night. But you know what? It's difficult to really calculate because you multitasking and you're doing a whole lot of different. Anyway, let's not carry on and on about this. Um, it's all about consistency. I know it's a podcast and it's recorded, but um, you, I think you want to like have it at a certain time. But so anyway, this is the best I can do. It was either now or never. This morning there was just too many things going on, and then once I was got everything out the way, I just wasn't in the right mood. It just wasn't the right. You got to be in the right mood, and I just wasn't into it. So maybe a little bit of a follow up. So yesterday, I was going to say I was naive, but and ignorant, but no, it wasn't my fault. Originally, yesterday, the story came out that the Lily Sleeve Farm, the museum in Rivonia, had been closed down, but due to financial problems. Then it came out. Then it came out in the laundry, in the washing. It's a little bit more, a bit more deeper than that because it just didn't make sense. We got lots of museums in South Africa, museums you never heard of. I mean, there's a famous South African artist, Walter Battis. There's the Walter Battis Museum in Somerset East or Somerset West. I think it's Somerset East. Walter Battis, he's got a museum. Did you know that Irma Stern's got a museum there by UCT, University of Cape Town? When they had the fire at UCT, I was so worried about the Irma Stern museum. But if the Irma Stern Museum got affected, the whole university, because the Irma Stern Museum is at the bottom, the fire came from the top, so the whole university would have burnt down. I mean, that museum, so many Irma Stern paintings, probably 100, maybe more. Yeah, mustn't carry on and on about it's yeah. So it turns out, according to Natim Tetwa, he's the Minister of Arts and Culture. He mentioned, they funded the Lily's Leaf Farm Museum. They funded them 8.1 million rand for I don't know, renovations and upkeep and improvements. None of the work was done, and that 8.1 million rand has been unaccounted for. Nu, what's cooks to? Where's the 1.1 million rand? So they will keep on funding and keep the museum open if they can do an audit and show me where is the money? Where is the money? Show me the money. Remember that, show me the money. So they're saying, show me the money. Nobody's showing the money. And I was all upset yesterday. This is so sad. And yes, still, that is the situation. I think it's quite an indictment. Pretty bad, eh? Lots of other stories going on in the world. I never knew about this. I just saw this now. The Taliban. The Taliban. Time difference. I think it says the Taliban are getting together to form a government today. And it's already the evening. It's already Friday night. They said they were getting together on Friday to form a government. The story says they're under intense international scrutiny over their vow to rule Afghanistan with greater tolerance, especially focusing on women's rights. Thing is, what do you think? Hey, what do you think? Do you think the Taliban is concerned? There's been isolated reports of shenanigans. I mentioned that folk singer who was murdered by the Taliban, somewhere just north of Kabul. I saw today a group of a woman protesting for female rights. They must be treated as equal citizens, etc. And they had their placards. And I thought to myself, that's a good sign, because the Taliban of 20 years ago, those women would never have come out with their placards. So let's see what happens. And then another story, another thing that came out yesterday or the day before, was that the Taliban, I don't know, I found this hard to believe, but, the Taliban actually was working with or assisting some of the American military to help evacuate some of the people. Sounds a bit strange. So let's just see. Let's try and keep an open mind. Let's see what the Taliban do. And you've got to ask yourself this question: what has possibly changed? Why would the Taliban be different to how they were all those years ago, in terms of, just observing human rights, just acting decently, especially towards women? Well, let's see. Two countries that have come out in support of the Taliban, and they've got like, for example, China. China has just confirmed via a tweet that they will keep their embassy open in Kabul. And Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, he's also given his support, and he seems to be open and he's not been negative about developments in Afghanistan. Look, China and Russia, eh? They're not like they're not the beacons of great democracy and freedom and transparency and human rights. God knows what's happening with the Uyghurs in China. You know the story with Russia. It's like Vladimir Putin wants a one-party state. Any opposition is clamped down on, imprisoned, poisoned. So those two countries, they're like kind of like aligning themselves to be allies with the Taliban. America, the United States, I think, are playing the wait and see game. Don't know. President Biden, US President Biden, I think, he's not saying a hell of a lot. I don't know. He shouldn't be talking. He has been talking, but I don't know. I don't know how he sleeps at night. I don't know how President Joe Biden sleeps at night. I don't know how George W. Bush sleeps at night. Well, I got a very nice mattress. No, it's Obama. When Obama became president, 2008, we thought, hey, he's going to close down Guantanamo Bay. He's going to try and make peace. Kinchman. And what did he do? Anyway, let's just wait and see. 2 weeks ago I said, when are we going to forget about Afghanistan? We get in there. Yes, just to follow up yesterday, of course, as well. Some like a refugee NGO kind of organization that is looking after some of these Afghan refugees. They approached the South African government. Please, won't you take in some of these Afghan refugees? A little bit more detail on that. It's not 100. It's not hundreds of refugees. It's not 1,000. It's 126 Afghan refugees. 126. Is that a lot? They're in Pakistan at the moment. So they fled, for their lives across the border from Afghanistan into Pakistan. Their lives are still at risk in Pakistan because, as you know, the Taliban's got free reign to go into Pakistan. Who knows? And of those 126 Afghan refugees, 60 of them are children between the age of nine or younger. Hey, I don't know. Where's our humanity, South Africa? South Africa says they got too many refugees in South Africa already, and they can't foot the bill. But silly argument, because it turns out that this aid organization that is helping with these refugees, they've got donors, they've got funders. They will cover costs. It will not cost the South African government anything. Maybe the South African government doesn't trust them. Maybe they don't trust them. Maybe they think these, and they only want to stay in South Africa for 6 months until they can find other arrangements, permanent residence somewhere else. Look, maybe the South African government doesn't trust them. But you know what? 126 Afghan refugees. Disappointed. I thought South Africa had this moral compass, a beacon of freedom and humanity. Obviously, I was wrong. Yeah. What can you do? What can you do? And while we're on this, so the new Speaker of the House, who was the Minister of Defense or State Security, well, Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngakula, right? Now, she was voted in Speaker of the House recently, and there were lots of allegations, corruption allegations, misappropriation of money, allegedly receiving a 5 million rand bribe from a defense contractor. She was accused of blowing millions of rands on aircraft charters and luxury hotels. Guess what? The subcommittee that were doing this investigation, how's this? I mean, you know this already probably, but I mean, they've dropped the investigation. Because the main whistleblower that led to this whole thing will not do the affidavit, will not sign or write out the affidavit that'll get the investigation, that'll give the green light to the investigation. Maybe you can't be totally surprised. Maybe it makes sense. I mean, there's been all this thing, we're not looking after the South African government. We're not looking after our whistleblowers. I mean, we know the terrible story. The finance manager in the Department of Health, whistleblower Babita Diakoranchi, was assassinated. Takes her daughter off to school, comes home, on her pavement, boom, boom, boom. She died in hospital. She was a whistleblower. Maybe that's the end of is that the end of our whistleblowers? I tell you, we're living in the wild, wild west. So maybe this incident, I don't think it's a coincidence. This incident with the whistleblower Babita Diakaran being assassinated. I mean, think about it. If you were now a whistleblower and you saw what happened to this poor woman, Babita Diakaran, dead, I wouldn't be so keen on being a whistleblower, I'll tell you that. Shame whoever this whistleblower is, I don't blame them. Yeah, it's you want a legal body, the Hawks or the NPA, National Prosecution, NPA. You want to have confidence in them. Hey, you can't just give me a false nose and false teeth and plastic glasses and then set me on my way. No. I want proper. I want change of name. My identity will never be known. I testify behind a dark screen. Voice alteration. Plastic surgery if necessary to alter my looks, if possible. New identity. Ship me off to another country. I like the south of France. It's very nice. I think all year round the weather's quite nice. No, I think it does get snow at some time. Florida, you don't want to go Florida now. They COVID. They've been. It's like an epicenter of COVID. Then I think they're also getting floods. Well, I stand corrected. I can't remember with the floods. So what's don't know what's what I don't know what's so the ANC. I mean the ANC. I'll tell you, must be embarrassed. Eh? I'm telling you, you go on a blind date. Go on a blind date and you meet somebody and they ask you, "What do you do?" And you, I work for the. Let's see. Pardon. ANC, CNA, yeah, CNA. I like stationery. Yeah, it's embarrassing. So the ANC can't pay their staff, right? They failed to submit candidates in at least 93 out of 278 municipalities, right? So now the ANC is having a special NEC meeting. It's going to be on the Zoom. I don't know if they use Zoom. Who knows? I don't advise Microsoft Team Viewer or Teams. Don't recommend it. Not so great. Just go with the Zoom. WhatsApp. Everyone uses Zoom. You have to just pay the... I mean, can the ANC afford the Zoom fees? Because after 40 minutes, if you haven't paid, they cut you off.
Damon?
Hey, everybody.
Damon? Silo wants to know if he can come and give commentary.
Yeah, sure. Just wait. I'm busy. He can come. Yes, he can come, but just wait. So my friend Selo's visiting, so he might want to come in as well. So now where was I? I've lost my train of thought. Selo?
Hey,
just Selo. Oh, just hang on. Oh man, this is not good. This is not good. Okay. Oh, gee whiz. Hey, just hang on. This is.
I'm trying to get Silo to watch Devil's Dog with us.
Okay. Okay, just Selo, you got to position yourself behind me so people can see you, please. I got a camera on. I got a camera on. Okay, let's not. We're wasting enough time. Okay, Selo, I was in the middle. Are you going to comment on what I was just talking about now?
Yes, but just give me a bit of context and then.
Okay, Selo, get onto the camera, please. Get a chair, sit down. Just please. This can we be professional? Now, Selo, don't be offended. No. Oh my lord! Just please. Oh man, this is not good. Just. Oh man.
Awesome. Can I be here for like 5 minutes?
Okay, Selo, I don't want you to be offended. Okay, I want you to get into position so you can see yourself on the TV, please. Okay, so now don't be offended, Selo. You must speak slowly because sometimes you speak very fast and you swallow your words. Don't be. I mean, I hope you're not offended now. Okay, what did you want to add?
Now, give me a bit of context. I heard a bit where you.
Just tell me what we're talking about. Okay, the ANC are having they're having their NEC meeting, and the main topic of conversation is they're talking about the embarrassment that they can't pay their staff. That's the issue. The other issue is that they failed to register candidates in 93 out of 278 municipalities.
Yes.
So what are they saying? What are people saying? What do you think?
Okay. As we know, today a constitutional court issued a directive that the elections should continue between 27 and the 1st of November.
Yeah.
Now,
I hadn't mentioned that yet. Thank you.
Okay. But here's the interesting thing, right? The implications there is that the constitutional court actually says IEC must reopen the registration weekend so that those people that could not register, they will then be given an opportunity to register. Now, I had this guy, interesting enough, from FF Plus, who actually said what that means is that the candidate list will have to be reopened, which then means that the ANC will then have another opportunity to resubmit the candidate list that they could not submit of those 93
Yes.
municipalities. Now, that is a bit of a predicament, because if the ANC gets that opportunity to submit that list, it means that if the chances are that they're going to retain those municipalities despite the dilemma that they're currently in.
Okay, somebody now, this is very interesting, because people were saying on Twitter this evening that it has to be done, because if the ANC fails and doesn't have these candidates and they don't win certain municipalities, it won't be a good thing for democracy.
Won't be free and fair.
It won't be a free and fair election, even though the ANC screwed up and they missed the cutoff. I think in the spirits of democracy and free and fair elections, they should allow the ANC to do this. Do you concur or what?
I think so, because if not, I mean, those that are going to take over those municipalities, they will be stealing them through the back door. Of course, having said that, we are not in any way condoning the terrible performance, the terrible behavior of the ANC for failing to submit those candidate lists on time. But now that the Constitutional Court has opened a door for them to do so, then why not? They might as well be given an opportunity to resubmit the candidate list. But one thing that we also need to be aware of, Damon, is that there is no alternative in South Africa. The opposition parties themselves have been in crisis. I mean, look at DA. 5 years ago, during the local elections, do you know who were the leaders?
Stay on the screen.
During 5 years ago, during the local elections, almost half of the DA leaders are no longer there. Musi Maimane, the guy who was the city of Joburg mayor, is no longer
Herman
Mashaba. Now they're all new people.
Tell me about Phumzile. What's her full Phumzile? What's her name?
Phumzile, she used to be the spokesperson of the DA.
What's her full name? Van Dam.
Van Dam, yes.
And then tell me about the other one. She left to do. She had some scholarship and whatever. Lindiwe Masibuko.
Yes, she's running an apolitical school, which I think is doing quite well. Yes.
But I saw her being interviewed say she will never go back to the ANC.
Because I think what she's doing outside the politics is fantastic, and I think you mean the DA, not ANC.
What did I say?
You said she said she wanted to
sorry. DA. I meant DA.
Yeah. Did you see a funny tweet today talking of DA where Musi Maimane posted?
Stay on the screen.
Where Musi Maimane posted about the new album of this guy called Drake, and some guy commented and said, "You are a politician," and Musi Maimane replied, "Does this mean that I listen to Nelson Mandela's speeches on repeat every day?" Which I think it was a very funny thing to say.
The thing is, the ANC have done a lot of bad things and they're looking very precarious and very embarrassing. But would you say the DA is worse, or who's more embarrassing?
Of course, they are both embarrassing. I mean, let's start with the ANC. The ANC is facing multiple crises currently as we speak. They can't pay their own staff. They don't have a general secretary, which is, I think, in part played an important role in their failure to submit the candidate list on time. There are factional battles that are still looming large within the ANC. Zuma's imprisonment and the fact that you've got Isma Khashule and all sorts of...
and then in the Northwest recently.
Of course, in the Northwest, Professor Job Mohoro, who's now been asked to resign, and they've brought a new person, and they're actually saying that there's no service delivery in Northwest. DA itself, it has been its own enemy without the ANC.
Well, sorry to interrupt very quickly. Somebody actually commented, and I think they were joking, but maybe not. Somebody joked, they think that the ANC planted Helen Zille into the DA to destroy the DA. I mean, it's a joke, but it can be. They say that art. I forgot the expression, but you never know.
I doubt. I mean, remember Helen Zille? She was the DA leader when Jacob Zuma was the ANC president, and I think during her time she did very well. It's just so.
What has happened to her, Selo? The last 4 or 5 years, what has happened to her? She discovered Twitter.
I think she just didn't know when to leave the dance floor. I mean, she should have just left and let other guys run the show. I think that's. But John Steenhuisen, hey? John Steenhuisen is a good guy. I used to like him when
Oh.
well let me rephrase. I used to like him when he was during the debates in Parliament when Mmusi Maimane was still the leader. So I felt like he was not loyal to Mmusi Maimane. You know, he was just waiting for Mmusi Maimane's downfall, and he took advantage of that moment, and then he just took that position that Mmusi Maimane was occupying. But I also feel like,
But is he a good leader?
I doubt, but I feel like since Mmusi Maimane left, I feel like DA is kind of like, it's becoming, I'm sort of saying this, a typical white party. Yeah.
I never thought of that.
I'm telling you, because, yeah, I just feel like it's no longer attractive to
As
black
white
people.
as your T-shirt.
I just feel like it's going to have the same, amount of black voters that it has. During Helen Zille, by the way, because I believe that even during Helen Zille's time, they actually had more black voters, and probably even more than under Mmusi Maimane. Now that they got rid of Mmusi Maimane, Helen Zille has just messed up her own, good time that she had at DA. I don't think John Steenhuisen will actually be able to attract as many black people as possible. Besides, their own black guys within the DA are actually undermined. You'll remember
What? Sorry,
undermined. You remember the Matikizela guy who was the chairperson of the DA in Western Cape.
What happened to him?
He left the party, I think, something to do with qualifications.
Is he now a lifeguard on Clifton?
Probably, but because he's
Oh, mind you, he can't swim.
Come on, Damon. And look, Phumzile Van Dam, she also left. And of course, a whole loads of other black leaders who have since left within the party. Hence, I'm saying it feels like DA is becoming FF plus 2.0.
Oi, Selo, excellent, thank you. Selo Malatsi, political analyst.